June 7th, 2019.
This is Nerd Bourbon, episode 105. I am Seth Sturgill.
And I am Todd Sturgill. All right.
Man, this is, there's cause for celebration and there's cause for mourning. Because this episode rings in Nerd Bourbon's, I guess, kind of second birthday a little bit. We are entering the third year of Nerd Bourbon, Todd. Yeah. How does that make you feel?
Proud.
Proud, huh?
Yeah, a little
proud of what you've done.
Pride.
No, I'm just kidding. I think it's
you
okay.
Proud of this shit.
I think it's reasonable to have a sense of pride. I'm proud of what we've done too. We normally, when we came into our second year, that was when we started devising like a shit ton of like side shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Announced a whole bunch of side shows and whatnot. We aren't going to be doing that this year. I think that the really nice thing about year 2 of Nerd Bourbon, just in terms of like to, here at the top of the show, just to talk about the things that we've learned, I feel like we've really sort of figured out the show at this point.
Yeah, we found our stride.
We've sort of, I think within the past year, we've kind of like figured out what it is.
Yeah.
And we've kind of found a flow that we like. I don't know. I don't think that you're going to... I think we're kind of good in terms of the side shows and stuff like that. Some things have remained stagnant for a while, but I feel like we have covered, if Nerd Bourbon as an idea is to cover all of the elements of our nerddom, I feel like we have sufficiently covered all of the elements of our nerddom. All the things that we are nerdy about are covered in this show and all of the other shows under its banner. Effectively. To that end, I do have one little announcement. It's actually kind of a big announcement. Something that I've been working on is a new kind of series that Todd and I are doing. It is a one-on-one actual play D&D podcast where we are running through Waterdeep Dragon Heist. Now, you may remember, if you've been with us for a little while, you may remember that we started the Nerd Bourbon Adventures banner last year, where we were kind of planning on doing tabletop stuff and recording it. And the reality of it is like we did one episode of a Star Wars RPG that I'm really proud of. And I do plan on going back to that one day. It hasn't happened yet, but I do want to go back to that one day. However, it's mostly because of like scheduling conflicts and stuff like that we haven't gone back to it. It's kind of hard, especially when you're doing other campaigns and stuff like that. It's kind of hard to like squeeze in time for Star Wars,
Mm-hmm.
So what we have done is we've come up with this idea that Todd and I are going to do a one-on-one Dungeons & Dragons campaign, working through the Waterdeep Dragon Heist story that is officially released by Wizards of the Coast. And it's interesting because for me, it's my first. I've never DM'd for just one person before, and it's an interesting challenge from that perspective. I've never worked off of book before like this, so that's an interesting challenge. And then on top of it, like I kind of like that the podcast represents like an opportunity for me to really show you guys why I love D&D. I think it's a really good introduction to D&D. If you've never played Dungeons & Dragons before, you've always been interested, if you are a huge D&D nerd and you play all the time or whatever, and you just want to listen to two idiots play, I think this podcast will be for you regardless. And the first episode is actually live right now. If you're listening to this episode, the first episode of Waterdeep Dragon Heist is currently live. So it's kind of my baby. I put a lot of work into it. It was really... I just want to stress that like there's a lot of editing work, a lot of prep work that goes into this, and I'm really proud of it. I'm really happy with this first episode. We've already got the second episode recorded. I'm working on it now. We're going to try to stick to a kind of like ish release schedule, but we're not gonna tie ourselves down. But we would like to get an episode out every other week.
Yeah.
We're going to see how it goes. I'm not going to promise anything just because, again, it's very labor intensive to do this show. but it really is a labor of love. I really like doing it a lot, and I'm really proud of how this first episode turned out. So again, if you're a D&D fan, if you're not a D&D fan, I would really appreciate it if you checked this out. If you've never listened to anything that we've done here, listen to this. Very proud of the way that's turned out. Second episode's already in the can, and I'm already kind of making my preparations for the third episode. So, Waterdeep Dragon Heist, fun time. Share it with your friends. Anyway, Todd, with that out of the way, I am just fucking like... I'm so exhausted by all the news that has come out this week. We have got a full plate ahead of us today, so let's dive right into it. What have you been playing?
Oh, shit. A little bit of Neo still. Kind of slowing down on the Neo.
Okay.
Still having fun with it. Just kind of just jumping on, maybe doing like a mission, then kind of jumping off. But what I've been doing a lot today, as at the time of this recording, is Diablo.
Oh, God.
I made the mistake of jumping on there.
Yeah, you jumped on there last night when we were talking, and I already knew that it was going to happen.
Yeah. I jumped on there because I was like telling you, I wanted to like say something about my gear that I had. And then it was just like, well, since I'm on.
Since I'm on, I might as well play for 5 hours.
Oh, yeah, it's probably about the amount I've actually played, honestly. Yeah. I've kind of gone full swing, just playing the shit out of it. I think I already gone up like 10 Paragon levels plus.
Why do you think I don't listen to you whenever you're like, jump on, let's do a vault run?
Because you know how easy it is to just jump back in.
Why do you think I don't do that shit?
Dude, it's addicting. It's a fucking drug.
Why do you think I don't give in to you? And your and your cunning wiles. I can't go back to Diablo.
Because the moment you do, the moment you give Diablo an inch, it takes a mile.
It's like a tar with an insatiable appetite.
I'm sitting there playing it. I'm like, why am I playing this right now? But I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah.
I loved it though. I've gone up a couple Paragon levels. I was just chilling, doing Nephilim rifts, doing bounties. Kind of just I'm trying to just finish up my gear set, where I'm looking to get like better boots.
Okay.
Still haven't got better boots. I've been getting dog shit. Absolute dog shit. I've been getting nothing but firewalkers. I don't want that garbage. Hot ass. Literally.
Dad joke.
It's where I thrive. But other than that, I've been playing a little bit more Monster Hunter. Not a lot. But like maybe I'll jump. It's like one of those things where I like just to kill time. Maybe I'll just jump on there, kill a monster, jump off, okay. And mainly because it's just I'm just sitting there just getting ready for Iceborne.
You're within the final 3 months of waiting.
I know. And honestly, the main reason I'm trying to jump on there is I don't want to go into Iceborne rusty. I'm trying to keep myself like a little lubed up.
Yeah, keep those oils nice and hot.
Yeah, I'm not trying to go into like fucking master rank and get my fucking ass whooped. I'm trying to, go in there a little lubed up, ready to go. But I'm excited. I'm excited for a lot of that shit. But yeah, I think that's basically all I've really been playing.
Depressing. No, I'm just kidding.
That was a depressing piece of shit.
No, for me, I platinumed Assassin's Creed Odyssey last night. Finally.
Everybody a round of applause.
Yeah. It took me, for context, just over 100 hours to earn the platinum in that game. To be fair, it is not, like, there's still plenty of things I could do. And I'll be honest with you, the way it ended, like, I love that game. I absolutely love that game. It's honestly probably, like, top 10 games of this generation for me. Like, I really loved it.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, like, the way it ended to me felt so anticlimactic, the way the story ended.
Yeah.
And so,
the ending that I knew about already, right? That I was, like, joking?
Yes. Yeah, you already knew about it. I don't know. It's not that I was disappointed by what happens at the end. It just felt so, like... It was just kind of like, all right, cool. Beat the game, got my platinum. All right, cool. Now what? It just didn't have a nice bow. You know what I mean? Like, not to spoil anything, but I was really kind of hoping for there to be like a section like in the modern day or something like that would really just kind of tie it nicely and wrap it.
Tie a knot on Layla's like story for that game.
Just what's going on, you know? Like it just would have been nice. I mean, because there are interesting things happening with the modern day component of this one, and I don't know. I just was sort of like left a little bit numb, I guess, by the ending, as much as I did love getting there. To the point where at first I was kind of like, man, I don't think I'm going to play the DLC, but I'm already getting the itch to hop back in and play the DLC. So I'm more than likely just going to spend the month of June playing the Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yeah, because originally you were talking about not just waiting till like all the DLC comes out.
Yeah, and I still feel like I'm going to regret not doing that because like they just came out with Chapter 2 of the Fate of Atlantis, and you know, Lord knows when Chapter 3 is going to come out. It's probably going to be a while if it's as expansive as Chapter 2 is. So, who knows? But I just sort of feel like, I don't know. I just feel like I didn't get the. I'm not satisfied with putting it down yet. I'm not comfortable with putting it down yet, I guess. Mm-hmm. So I think I am going to hop back in and just kind of like, you know, I don't really have any other games coming out from here until like Mario Maker anyway. So, which comes out at like the end of the month. I'll probably still be playing Assassin's Creed for a little while. I have been playing one other game that I just wanted to highlight, Todd, if you will take my hand and come with me to Seth's Indie Corner. This game is called Gato Roboto.
All right, then.
This is a very, very small game. It is a Metroidvania, a Metroidvania-ass Metroidvania. Like, you play as... So I'll give you the sales pitch here. Very, very simple sales pitch. It's a Metroidvania with sort of like old school, it kind of looks like an early like Game Boy game graphics. You know, pixelated, very simple graphics, black and white. You can unlock different palettes, but for the most part it's black and white. Like, it's kind of like a two-color kind of system. But you play as a kitty in a mech suit.
You're missing the most important thing. It's Kiki the kitty.
Kiki the kitty, I guess. So, yeah, I mean the cat's name is Kiki. But it is.
I looked up the game right now. So.
It is a Metroidvania-ass Metroid game. There is like a, you know, it's got all the trappings of Metroid. Where you're going through, you know, a map, a room-based map. There are certain things that you can't access at certain times. You got to backtrack and come back and stuff like that. It's just a really solid Metroidvania. There's like a dead-ass like morph ball and spin jump just like in Metroid. So, I mean, it wears its inspirations on its sleeve. It's not hiding anything. But, you know, it's just cute and charming, and it's just one of those games. It's a nice palate cleanser kind of game. It's short. The game's like 4 or 5 hours long. It's not, but it's also cheap. Like, I think they're asking $8 for it. So, I mean, it's just a very, like, it's like an after-dinner mint of a game. You know what I mean? It's harmless. It's well-designed. It's not asking a lot of time or money from you. And just in terms of, like, its design, in terms of, like, what it is, like, there's nothing really wrong with it. It's kind of perfect. It's just a solid game. And I really like it. It's out on PC and Switch, and I highly recommend it. Staying in the indie realm for a second, these are not games that I have played, but I did want to highlight them on the show, just to shed a little bit of light on them for people who may not have heard about them yet. 2 games that I want to highlight that are coming presumably in 2019. Both of them are currently slated for 2019. The first one was actually just announced this past week. It's called Blasphemous, and I think this game's actually kind of up your alley, Todd.
Really?
Blasphemous is a sort of very Dark Souls-inspired 2D, gorgeous pixel art. Kind of has like the art style of
Is blasphemous straight spelled like blasphemous, or they got a weird spelling?
No, it's spelled like blasphemous. Okay. It's you know, 2D pixel art. It looks like the early Castlevania games, kind of like late Super Nintendo kind of art style. And it just looks, I mean, it's gory. It's beautiful. Good creature designs. You know, it looks very heavily Souls inspired. Like, it looks like Dark Souls and Castlevania had a baby, basically, is what this looks like. and it just looks really good. It was one of those things where you just watch the trailer and it's like, oh, cool, that's on my fucking radar now. So I thought of you when I saw it. Looks like something you might be interested in.
I'm gonna be watching a muted trailer right now. So
the combat looks interesting and just fluid and fast and sort of like just one of those games where you can tell that the combat design was well considered and a lot of enemy variety. The music is good. The cutscenes are really good looking and crisp.
Were you playing as Pinhead in this game?
Essentially, it sort of looks that way.
So, top comment on this trailer. They should rename this game Pinhead Larry Has a Bad Day.
So it just looks really good. The second game that I want to highlight is the polar opposite of Blasphemous. Could not be more opposite. It's a game called Bug Fables. Bug Fables, again, independent, small team. Apparently, it slipped through the cracks, I guess. I guess it made the rounds on Indiegogo like a year or two ago. And essentially, the pitch behind Bug Fables is, oh, is Nintendo not going to make a good Paper Mario game? Fuck it, we'll make a Paper Mario game. Essentially.
I respect that.
And, Paper Mario is still alive and well for Nintendo. They released one at the end of the Wii U's life cycle, but it really hasn't been since Thousand Year Door on GameCube was the last, really good Paper Mario. Because once they started, they started fucking with the formula a lot with Paper Mario.
Mm-hmm.
They released one on Wii, and it was okay. Then they released one on 3DS, which a lot of people consider to be an abomination. And then they released one on Wii U that was again, it was good. But the last great Paper Mario game was Thousand Year Door on GameCube. And a lot of people have really been craving a classic Paper Mario game, and Bug Fables looks to fill that void of just funny, good writing, a really nice art style. Like Bug Fables, if you look it up, keep it on your radar if you're a Paper Mario fan. It looks like it's checking all the right boxes. Both of these games, by the way, are slated to come to Switch, which makes me happy, obviously, because that's where I like to play my indie games.
Oh, so wait, so Blasphemous is coming to Switch?
Yes.
Oh, that's probably where I'll buy it then, because that trailer did sell me, by the way.
Yeah, no, I thought of you when I saw the trailer. I knew that was going to be up your alley. So, Todd, that's all I wanted to talk about before we get into just the fucking embarrassment of news that I've got this week.
Let's jump right into it, man.
My God.
Let's go.
My God, I've got so much news. So let me just preface this. So this is going to be a little bit of a weird show this week because we recorded the show this week in two parts. This part, we waited until Thursday night, literally the night before the podcast goes live on Friday, just to give you...
Friday morning, technically. No,
yeah, technically. And so... we're doing this as last minute as possible because there has just been so much news. I mean, this is probably the most news I've ever had to cover in a single week, just in terms of all the announcements, all of the events and streams and stuff that are kind of going on before E3 starts this week.
Mm-hmm.
It's been intense, I'm not going to lie to you. And every time I think it's done, something else happens. So essentially what we did, and we're doing the same thing that I do every year. I'm still going to do the E3 predictions. The second half of this show is going to be E3 predictions. The first half is going to be kind of the more typical, we talk about what we've been playing and we get into the news and stuff like that. So, and I think I will actually include timestamps in the description so that you can figure out what you want to listen to and kind of float around if you want to. So look out for that. Let's get right into this news, man. The first thing I want to point out this week, I'm going to bounce around here on my listing here. I've got some small ones. Most of these are big, meaty things. But let's tackle something that we actually mentioned in last week's show. It was a rumor last week, but now it is essentially official that Borderlands 2 is getting new DLC leading into the release of Borderlands 3. And it is indeed going to be Commander Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary. We know this because it briefly appeared on Steam this week and was immediately removed, but, it's the internet. So it didn't take long for somebody to screen cap it, and now we have all the details. So this is what the description says. Return to the award-winning shooter-looter for a new adventure that sets the stage for the upcoming Borderlands 3. Sanctuary is under siege, the vault's map has been stolen, and a toxic gas is poisoning Pandora. Fight new bosses, explore new zones, get new loot, including an entirely new tier beyond Legendary, and join up with Lilith and the Crimson Raiders to take on a deranged villain hell-bent on ruling the planet. This DLC actually sounds like surprisingly meaty because they're actually upping the level cap to 80 in this one.
That's actually that was one of the biggest surprises to me because I read like an article that had the same description. I was like, oh, what the fuck? I was like, they're actually raising the level cap. I was like, okay.
Yeah. So and interestingly, it says that they're going to allow new players to roll characters at level 30 so that they can dive straight into the action.
No, I mean I respect that. I mean that works out. I'm telling you, it's fucking. You got the place. Yeah, it's on PlayStation Plus right now. The Handsome Collection.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Boom. 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 I mean, really, and it seems like it's going to be, according to some data mining practices and stuff, it seems like it's going to be free DLC,
which is another smart move.
And they say that it's going to be coming out on June 9th, which is the same day as Microsoft's E3 press conference. So it seems likely that it's going to be one of those like. They're probably going to have Borderlands 3 on stage for a little bit. Then they're going to reveal this Borderlands 2 DLC, and they're probably going to be like, oh, and it's available right now.
Yep.
One of those
and I'll be downloading it right then and there.
So, seems interesting. I don't know if I'm going to play it or not, but I
mean, there'd be no point for you to play it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have like a currently high level character or anything like that like you do, but I'm intrigued by it. I found it very fascinating that they went back to the well.
Don't worry, you'll hear about it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we'll hear all about it.
Oh no, you're gonna hear about it from me.
Let's have another little small bit of news here. So, after years in development hell, the Uncharted movie will finally be coming to theaters next year. Sony Pictures today announced a holiday release date for December 18th, 2020, when the Uncharted movie is going to come out. So next holiday, we'll be watching the Uncharted movie. They've confirmed that it's going to be directed by 10 Cloverfield Lane's Dan Trachtenberg, which is nice. The movie's in good hands. And stars Tom Holland as a young Nathan Drake. So, very interesting. I really like Dan Trachtenberg a lot. That dude is like, he's actually like a gamer. He's never directed anything that I didn't like. I really liked 10 Cloverfield Lane. His Portal short film is like fucking amazing. And so the movie's in good hands. And I have faith finally that the Uncharted movie might actually happen. And I think it's going to be good. I like Tom Holland a lot. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be something to watch out for. So, December 18th, 2020, Uncharted movie.
I want a trailer.
Yeah, it's going to be a while. I'm sure cameras aren't going to be rolling probably until early next year.
Yeah.
So you probably won't get a real trailer until like next summer. So we'll see. I'm just kind of bouncing around here on my news roundup. Let's just kind of covering the small things, get them out of the way first. Shenmue 3 has seen yet another delay. Although this one was not for long. It was slated to release on August 27th of this year. It has now been pushed to November 19th.
See, this is where they delay it by, when it gets close, another month.
Another one.
Another month.
Another one.
Another one.
They got DJ Khaled working on this game. Yu Suzuki stated that the game, quote, simply needs a little more refinement before being truly finished, end quote. So
I still don't know if I'm going to end up getting that game.
Why do you care? Did you play 1 or 2?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know you were a Shenmue fan.
Yeah, I like Shenmue.
I've never played them. So
yeah, I played them on. I played them like I don't even remember. They were on Dreamcast. I think I played. It was like Xbox One. I don't remember, man. I played it though.
The first one was on Dreamcast. The second one was on original Xbox.
There you go. And I played. That's how I do it. That's how I did it.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I don't think I've ever heard you talk about Shenmue before. If you've played the first two, you might as well play the third one.
I'm thinking about it. So.
Let's get something a little juicier here. I feel like this is something we can actually stop and talk about for a little while. It is official, Todd. We kind of knew this was going to happen after we recorded last week's show, but it is now official. The next Call of Duty game is indeed Call of Duty Modern Warfare. It is a soft reboot for the franchise. It's coming on October 25th, 2019. And we don't know much, but we know a few things. I just want to run down some of the stuff we know here. So we know that the campaign seems to be focused on heavy, dark, emotional moments. And we said this last week, but it seems like Infinity Ward took inspiration from stuff like the No Russian mission in Modern Warfare 2. And they're really going for kind of a gritty, emotional campaign with this one, which sounds good to me.
I'm completely down for it.
I've listened to and read some previews for the game. There was like a media preview event last week for it, where they showed off, I think, a couple of missions of gameplay, and they described some really cool stuff. So I encourage you to go seek some of those out and check out some of that. It'll give you a real feel for what they're going for in the game. I feel like there's going to be some controversy around this game's campaign, but that seems to be sort of, pretty much in line with what Infinity Ward's done in the past. And it seems like Infinity Ward is really excited about this game, which is nice. And another good move, they are ditching the annual pass model for this one, and all post-launch DLC will be made available for free. So that's nice. Taking a page from EA's book there, who's been doing that for a little while now.
Yeah.
So that makes me happy. There's obviously going to still be, you can still buy the Call of Duty points and buy your aesthetic stuff, but in terms of the map packs and stuff like that, that's all going to be made available for free post-launch. Mm-hmm. This is another interesting thing. The game will feature cross-play support between PC and consoles. Mm-hmm. Although the jury's out on if Xbox One and PS4 players are going to be allowed to play together, you will be, like, PC to Xbox and PC to PS4 is going to be possible. So that's interesting. I was a little bit surprised to read that. I mean, crossplay and cross-saving and all this cross stuff seems to be pretty important to a lot of people, though.
Yeah.
It's not really a big deal for me, never really has been, but then again, I don't really play multiplayer games. I don't really play like the same game on multiple consoles like a lot of people seem to. So, not really a big deal for me in my personal life and the way that I play games, but it seems like a lot of people are really excited about this. I mean, the fact that they can play with their friends that are playing on different consoles and stuff like that. So,
yeah,
that's cool. I was a little bit surprised because, to me anyway, when it comes to a first-person shooter, PC players just have a clear advantage, in my mind.
Wrong.
It's just obvious. Mouse and keyboard.
I beat the dog shit out of people on PC using a controller on multiple games.
I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying
I booty snapped them.
I'm not saying that somebody that is good at painting could not paint a good painting with shitty Walmart paintbrushes. But I am saying that they have got nice $100 paintbrushes. Like, when you've got somebody on the PC with just a really high DPI mouse, they just, maybe they're not as skilled as you are, but they do have an advantage, just a pure advantage. It boils down to skill. I don't think that the gap is significant enough, but I was a little bit surprised. Because that's always been kind of cited as the problematic area between having PC and console players play together. So we don't know anything about it, but there is going to be a dedicated co-op mode in the game called Elite Operations. Probably going to take the place of the Special Ops or whatever it was called from Spec Ops, whatever it was, yeah. So that's probably essentially what it's going to be. There's not going to be any zombie mode, unsurprisingly, because that's sort of Treyarch's thing. So this game is going to have that. Interestingly, though, Infinity Ward has said that this game is going to narratively tie all of its elements together. So the single player, the co-op mode, and the competitive multiplayer is all going to tie together in some way.
Okay.
They want it to all feed into each other. So
I respect that.
I don't know necessarily what that means, but again, they're excited about it, so I mean, it's something, it's not going to be a game that I pick up at launch, but I'm absolutely going to play it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll never forget when Black Ops 4 came out last year and we picked it up for like $36 or whatever it was, like 2 weeks after it came out.
Yep.
So I'm just like, I would be a fool to pick up that game at launch. But I do plan on, if I see that game for $30, like absolutely, I'm gonna pick that up and I'm gonna play it for sure. Because I'm interested in the campaign. Like I think that Call of Duty consistently has a rock solid campaign. Rock solid shooter. I mean, there are few shooters that feel as good as Call of Duty does. So, and I'm actually interested in what they're doing with this game's campaign. So, bravo! I'm interested in the Call of Duty game. So this really fucked me this week, Todd, because an Amazon UK listing has outed the next Watch Dogs game ahead of its inevitable E3 reveal. So this was something that I was going to have on my E3 predictions, which you'll hear later on in the show, but I had to rescind it from the list because of its reveal ahead of time, because of this Amazon UK listing, and it has since been confirmed by Ubisoft, and they sort of leaned into it, and they changed their the Watch Dogs Twitter, and they said yeah, like Watch Dogs Legion is real. Tune into E3 and we'll talk, and that's where we're gonna properly reveal it. The pre-E3 leaks are real. So yeah, the game is called Watch Dogs Legion. The product description states that it takes place in a, quote, post-Brexit world in which society, politics, and technology have changed and altered London's fortunes. So, gonna be in London. Again, we already sort of knew that. The big thing, though, is that the report is that the game's major focus will be that every NPC in the game can be recruited and be made fully playable, which is interesting. Quote, every individual you meet in the open world has a full set of animations, voiceover, character traits, and visuals that are generated and guided by gameplay systems, end quote. God. So, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, what do you think? Is that exciting to you?
Not really.
Like, that doesn't really do much for me, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool idea. I'm just like,
Like, I kind of preferred having, like, a character. Like...
Yeah, I prefer to have a character.
I mean, like, Aiden Pierce is one of the worst video game characters of all time. But...
But a character, nonetheless.
Well, but like, Marcus in Watch Dogs 2, I liked Marcus, right?
Yeah.
And I like playing as a character with a actual, like, predetermined story. Now... I also like a game with good systems, but I kind of wish that we had both. So it's going to be weird. I feel like Watch Dogs Legion is just going to have an identity crisis. Like, am I really going to feel attached to the story and the proceedings if I don't...
I'm playing as just random NPCs?
Yeah, I'm just going to be playing as random people. I don't know. That just isn't really a selling point for me. I'm going to have to wait and see at E3. I'm sure we're going to get a demo and we're going to actually like see what it looks like in person. Notably, if this sounds like this is going to be a headache to develop, that's because it is. Because Jason Schreier over at Kotaku says that the development team says that this has caused major headaches and may have already led to a delay, which may indicate that the game won't be ready for a 2019 release date after all. Which was sort of the thinking, was that the game is going to be ready for this year. It may have already suffered a delay just because of how ambitious the game's systems are. Notably, from what we've heard, the game is being... the creative director of the game is actually Clint Hawking, who was kind of the creative lead on some of the early Splinter Cell games, and he was the creative director, the last game that he was creative director of at Ubisoft was Far Cry 2, which was similarly... Like, I don't like that game. I didn't like that game when I played it. I don't know, maybe I would go back to it and like it, but I'm never going to go back to it, whatever. That game is a very systems-heavy game, though. You know what I mean? Like, that game has a story, but I feel like this is going to be similar to that, where it's going to be more about the actual like gameplay, the actual sandbox elements of the systems and the mechanics, and less about the story. Which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I mean, that's why a lot of game designers look at Far Cry 2 and they love it. But I mean, for me, it wasn't my cup of tea. We'll see. I don't look at this stuff with a great deal of confidence. And I'm a little bit bummed out that Watch Dogs is going this route, but who knows? I mean, maybe it's going to be great. I don't know. How are you feeling about the Watch Dogs franchise coming into this? Because, I mean, you played them both.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, my whole opinion on the fucking Watch Dogs franchise is I'm like, I don't technically care for it that much.
I really did not care for the first one.
I can go on a tangent on how I feel about the first one, just for some other reasons. The second one was obviously a better game, but it's still like nothing special in my mind. It's like, it's cool, it's all right.
Like I had a really fun time with Watch Dogs 2. Like I platinumed it. I had a good time with it. I really liked the sort of like their little version of San Francisco. It was a good game. Like I liked it. But and that was when I was like, okay, maybe there is something to be said about Watch Dogs, and I was kind of looking forward to Watch Dogs 3 in London, but I mean, this just doesn't sound...
No, it doesn't sound like my cup of tea. I prefer my games with a character. So
yeah, it just doesn't sound that interesting to me. And Watch Dogs 1, by the way, and I've said this before, just totally got a free pass because it was like the only thing that we could play early on in this generation. But I digress.
That's not Chicago.
Yeah, and also its version of Chicago sucks.
Sucks is an understatement, but yeah, go.
Let's move on to some. Let's talk about some remasters, Todd, that have been announced this week. Did you ever play Ghostbusters the video game back on 360?
No.
Underrated game. Very good game that I feel like a lot of people slept on. That game is basically Ghostbusters 3. And I want to shed some light on this remaster that is supposed to be coming out sometime in 2019 for Switch, PC, Xbox One, PS4. That game is very good. And when I say that it's essentially Ghostbusters 3, I mean that it is like the writing was like Dan Aykroyd helped with the writing of it. All of the original Ghostbusters come back to do all the voices. Like that is a legit Ghostbusters game. If you like Ghostbusters, that game is required playing. And it was just fun. Like, it was just solid. Like, it's just a solid-ass third-person Ghostbusters game. I really liked it. It was one of those remasters that I didn't know that I wanted until they revealed it. I was like, damn, I could really go for another playthrough of that. Like, that was a fun game. We don't have a confirmed release date for it. We just know that it's coming sometime in 2019. So that got announced this week. That was weird. The second remaster is equally weird because... So let me just preface this a little bit. So THQ Nordic, who by all accounts owns like 500 IP. I don't know what THQ... I don't know how they get all their money. I don't know what's going on over there. Because THQ Nordic, by the way, like THQ was like in dire financial straits. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, like we have like 80 games in development right now. And we like own all this IP, and they buy up like weird shit, like all these weird little IP. Like they bought like the Kingdoms of Amalur IP and stuff like that. They have Darksiders now and just this weird stuff that they pick up, right?
Mm-hmm.
This week, kind of before E3, they're like, okay, we're going to be announcing games on Wednesday. We're going to announce a game. Thursday, we're going to announce a game. Friday, we're going to announce a game. Now, unfortunately, because the show posts on Friday, we are not going to be able to cover their Friday announcement for whatever game it is. But the game they announced on Wednesday was SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, which is a completely reworked sort of remaster of that old PS2, Xbox, GameCube game. Which, by the way, that game way better than it had any right to be. Like, I actually had a lot of fun with that game. I played it on GameCube, and I just had a blast with that game.
I forgot about that game until I was like watching old gameplay like yesterday. I was like, oh, that game.
Yeah, like that game is actually pretty good. Like, shockingly good. So I'm actually like weirdly excited. That's the thing with these games. I'm really hoping that they come out at a reasonable price. Put out SpongeBob, put out Ghostbusters, 20, $30. I would love to buy those and replay those games. Don't charge me full price for them. Don't be an asshole.
45 tops.
I don't think I'd pay more than 30 for either one of them. But at least in SpongeBob's case, the game looks like it's actually been reworked pretty significantly. We've seen a couple of screenshots, and I'm actually like kind of shocked at how much work they've done to the visuals. Like, it looks kind of beautiful. Like, for a SpongeBob game. Like, they've actually done some good work to it. And they're actually adding a new cooperative horde mode to the game. And they've actually reworked and re-added a boss fight with, like, Robo Squidward that was cut from the game's initial release. So, it actually seems like they're putting in some work to this, which is interesting. Notably, no release date given, so it probably isn't coming out this year. But I'm kind of excited for it. Shit. I'll replay that game. But the second THQ Nordic reveal, I've been excited to talk to you about this. Because the second THQ Nordic reveal, Thursday's THQ Nordic reveal, was Darksiders Genesis. I've been waiting to hear your opinion on this.
I didn't actually see this, so...
Really? So you didn't look at this? I'm surprised.
No.
So let me give you the rundown. So Darksiders...
Diablo-style spinoff.
It is. Well, it's a spin-off, but then it's not a spin-off. So it's from developer Airship Syndicate, which, if you didn't know, they made that Battle Chasers Night War game, and it's actually... So Joe Madureira works there now. Many, actually, of the original like Darksiders 1 and 2 team went off to make Airship Syndicate, and so now they're making Darksiders Genesis, which is really cool. So they're coming back to the Darksiders series. This game is a top-down Diablo-style game. So this is Strife's game, basically. It's a top-down Diablo-style shooter.
Yeah, you keep talking. I'm watching the trailer.
So you're watching the trailer now. You'll notice that you'll see, and this is even present on the box art, War is there fighting alongside him.
Yes. This is all yes to me so far.
I think it looks super good. The official description is, in Darksiders Genesis, the fourth horseman of the apocalypse, Strife, is called upon to save humankind from certain destruction at the hands of Lucifer. True to its roots, Darksiders Genesis will feature intense combat, exploration, puzzle solving, epic boss battles, and serpent holes from heaven to hell. The game marks the first full-scale Darksiders adventure played from the top-down perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it looks super fun. I'm super down for it. But what I'm curious about, does the presence of war imply that this game is co-op? Is this going to be a two-player co-op-centric Darksiders game?
Q Hawkeye meme. Don't give me hope.
Why would they have war in there so prominently?
If this is the way they give me my co-op Darksiders game, I have no issue with it.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and I've seen a few people sort of like cry foul with this, and they're a little bit butthurt that like,
oh, fuck off. Like, I'll take what I can get. All right.
Yeah, they're saying, oh, this is a cop out. This is supposed to be Strife's game. This is bullshit. Blah blah blah. What I'm secretly hoping, so we're gonna be getting more details about this at E3. There was no release date given, although what we've seen looks pretty damn final to me. I don't know that it's necessarily going to come out in 2019.
It looks good,
but it looks really good. I mean, it looks like a Diablo clone, but I'm totally okay with that.
I just talked about Diablo earlier. So.
Yeah, and like I don't mind necessarily that. Like, what did you really want Strife's game to play? Did you want it to be a straight up third person shooter? You know?
Then exactly, like, because it obviously has to be a shooter. Those are his weapons,
right?
So I think this is the best way of. I think this is probably the best way to go about it.
I think it's a really interesting take, and I think it just proves that Darksiders works in more than one genre of game. And I'm happy to see Darksiders sort of spread its wings a little bit. And what I'm really secretly hoping is that they're going to reveal that the other two horsemen are going to join in, and it's going to be a true 4-player, 4-horseman game.
Bruh.
Like 4-player co-op, Diablo style, top down, all 4 horsemen playable. That'd be fucking awesome.
So this is online co-op.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, just spitballing. If it is online co-op,
Yeah.
I have to be. I'm gonna have to play my boy War.
It's free real estate.
It's free real estate.
So that was a very exciting announcement from THQ Nordic. There were actually rumors that we were going to hear some sort of Darksiders something, but I got to be honest, I did not expect that.
Oh man,
did not see that coming. Let's talk about Pokemon next, Todd. I want to talk about some Pokemans.
Pokemon.
So earlier this week, we were treated to a 15-minute pre-E3 Pokemon Sword and Shield Direct, which kind of revealed a lot of things about the game. Just raw reactions. How did you feel about this Direct? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. Definitely, it solidified the fact that I'm going to be getting Shield.
Yes.
And, a lot of interesting new mechanics to the game I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, so I've got just kind of a fact sheet here. For starters, release date was revealed. The game is coming November 15th, which is surprising nobody. That is a totally like Pokemon release date. Anybody would have assumed that. So one of the new mechanics, there's going to be sort of like these open areas where you can take part in max raid battles. Which will allow 4 players locally or online to team up together to take down and have a chance to capture a super big, super powerful Pokemon. And that effect, where they become super big and super powerful, is called Dynamaxing, which is another new mechanic in Sword and Shield. Essentially what this is, you'll be able to Dynamax your Pokemon for 3 turns in combat, once per battle. And essentially, it just makes them huge, and it turns all of their attacks into more powerful Z moves for the duration of the Dynamaxing. And we got to look at some of the new characters, the sort of rival character, the gym leaders, the professor in this one, and we saw a few of the new Pokemon. So it was a pretty solid, I think, 15-minute direct. I was pretty happy with it overall, in terms of the amount of information we got. However, and this is something that I told you about, interestingly enough, Todd, this Nintendo Direct seems to have confirmed a weeks-old leak from 4chan.
Mm-hmm.
So, dude on 4chan claimed that he had some insider knowledge of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and like most of these leaks, we're just kind of like, what the fuck ever, right? Just kind of brush it off, right? However, some of the things that he stated in here were 100% real. Like, so much so that it sort of stands to reason that the rest of what he's written here is real as well. So he predicted, he says here, your rival is named Hop. That's true. Character names are correct in here. He said that the legendaries are wolves who will either have a shield mane or hold a sword. That's 100% real. He talked about Dynamaxing. Interestingly enough, he also goes into what's called Gigantamaxing, which he says is different from Dynamaxing as it changes what the Pokemon looks like. So that's interesting. He says, and this is stuff that was not covered in the Direct, some Pokemon like Farfetch'd will get regional evolutions like Sirfetch'd.
Dude, that motherfucker, can I say something? That motherfucker better have a top hat and a monocle.
This is something that I was a little bit bummed out about. I was like, man, I would have really liked to see, because we had the Alolan versions of certain Pokemon, I would have really liked to see Galar versions of certain Pokemon. It seems like we are getting that. It just wasn't revealed in this Direct. And he just goes on and on, like even giving specifics of the gyms and sort of the challenges you have to complete in order to access the gyms. He goes into some of the Pokemon, like the starter evolutions a little bit, even giving some of their names, which is interesting. It goes on and on, and I encourage you to look this up. A lot of people have reported on this because it's almost certainly real, and it was just interesting to me to see that. So Pokemon Sword and Shield, I'm excited.
Day one purchase.
Absolutely a day one purchase. Cannot wait. God, we've got again some big news here, Todd. I'm debating on which one I want to tackle here. I'm just looking at this. I've got like 3 or 4 more pieces of news to go over, and they're all really big. Let's tackle this. So I don't know if you saw this or not, because this story just broke at the time of this recording just like a few hours ago, but Jason at Kotaku reports that Blizzard has canceled a first-person shooter set in the StarCraft universe.
Yeah.
His sources say that the game was in development for the past 2 years and felt like a mix of Battlefield and StarCraft, and the people that were working on it that talked to Jason anonymously said that the game was actually looking pretty good. However, the project was canceled 2 weeks ago, and the people working on it were not laid off. There were no layoffs made as a result of this cancellation. Instead, they were moved on to work on Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2.
Yep.
Both of which are expected to be announced at this year's BlizzCon. I found that fascinating. Diablo 4 makes sense, but I'm a little bit shocked that Overwatch 2 is a thing.
I'm gonna be honest. Can I say something? I feel like Overwatch 2 is actually gonna have a campaign.
I think so too. Yeah, I think so too.
I think they actually will have a single player component of it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too many ways in which you can really like improve on Overwatch's multiplayer. I think a campaign is probably going to be a big component of it. I'll be really interested to see that. I'm a little shocked. Diablo 4 makes sense.
Yeah, no, Diablo 4 completely makes sense.
I mean, Diablo 3 has been out for a long time. Like it is high time for Diablo 4 to be a thing for sure. But Overwatch 2, man, like I'm really shocked. I mean, Overwatch 1 still is so well supported, and like people still play the shit out of that game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just surprised that they aren't going to make Overwatch just a platform. I mean, the game came out 2017 or 2016 or something like that. When did Overwatch come out?
We'll fact check that right now.
2016 it came out.
Oh,
just barely 3 years.
I am kind of surprised by that.
So I'm sort of surprised. There have been a few publications that say that Overwatch 2 will indeed have a large PvE element. And then they say that, in fact, Jason Schreier said that some people at Blizzard have compared Overwatch 2's PvE stuff to Left 4 Dead. So, could be interesting. It seems like they're not going to go like truly ham. Like it's not going to be like a truly robust. But I mean, honestly, that's enough for me. If it's just a co-op centric. We're starting to see Overwatch make moves towards that with some of these later.
Oh yeah, with some of the events like that they've done.
Yeah, some of the event missions kind of felt a little Left 4 Dead-ish, to the point where it's like if you really double down on that, I could see that actually making for a fun little campaign.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. I was shocked to read that. I really was. Like, if you put a gun to my head, I would not have said like, oh, Overwatch 2 at this year's BlizzCon. Like Diablo 4, yeah, certainly, absolutely. But Overwatch 2.
Especially ever since that April Fool's joke.
Right. That was actually, I'm glad you said that, because apparently they actually were also working on another mobile project, which has also been canceled. Probably as a direct result of the Diablo Immortal backlash. So.
I fucking love that.
Was this just an out of season April Fool's joke? So, just Blizzard's a fascinating company, man. They move in mysterious ways. Like, how many other places where it's like, oh, hey, we're working on a really cool looking... I would have loved to play a StarCraft first-person shooter. Are you kidding me? That would have been awesome.
Too fucking bad.
Would have been awesome.
Too fucking bad.
It's going to get to the point where StarCraft is the least served franchise from Blizzard. StarCraft 2 came out in 2010. So it's like, fuck, when are we going to get another StarCraft game at this point?
You won't. No, I'm just...
Anyway, we had a live stream event this week for the Google Stadia. Did you hear anything about this stuff?
I stopped. I don't give a shit about fucking Google Stadia.
Well, it's the news, Todd, so we got to cover it.
I know.
I don't necessarily... I'll say this. I'm not going to go as far as to say that I don't care about it, because I find it interesting. I find Google Stadia interesting. I'm not necessarily going to be buying it or anything like that, but I don't think it's going to be successful necessarily, because I don't think that... I just don't think that the climate is right for Google Stadia. But I do think we're moving towards that. I think in the future we will be in that zone, just not now. So let me shed some light. So Google kind of had this little live stream event where they revealed some details on Stadia. Stadia is launching sometime this November. No hard date, just a November date. A lot of people were hoping that Stadia was going to be kind of like a Netflix thing, where you like pay a subscription and you just have access to a bunch of games. That is not the case. It will be a subscription-based platform, but you will end up having to buy the games separately still. So like you are still going to have to pay for your copy of like Assassin's Creed or whatever the fuck. Like it's not going to be free. The base subscription, the sort of like pro subscription for Stadia is $10 a month, which is going to be the only thing available at launch. A free option is planned for next year. The pro subscription will allow players to stream in 4K 60 frames HDR, while the free subscription will only allow up to 1080p streaming. The pro subscription will also entitle you to exclusive discounts on Stadia games, as well as regularly added free games. So think about this like you would Xbox Live Gold or PlayStation Plus, where you'll occasionally get some free games, and as long as you keep an active subscription, you can play them. And you'll get deals on certain stuff. It's going to work exactly like Xbox Live and PS Plus. The Stadia will launch with a Founders Edition, which costs $130. It includes... It's actually a pretty good deal for everything you get. It includes the Stadia controller itself, the Chromecast Ultra, which I think alone is like $80. And it's going to have a 3-month subscription for you and a 3-month subscription that you can give to a friend. So that's interesting. And for a limited time, the Stadia Pro users will have access to Destiny 2 in its entirety, all expansions included. So the Founders Edition is actually a pretty good deal. Again, not something that I think I'm going to jump into, but like the idea is solid. The idea of like, hey, this is a super cheap, $130 is really cheap for a streaming console. You can play it anywhere. You have this controller. You can play it on your computer through your Google browser. You can play it on your TV through Chromecast. Like, it's a really solid idea. I just don't think it's going to work out well in the long run. I just don't. People that have like gone hands-on with Stadia say that there is a little bit of like input lag, and I just don't think the world's ready for this. Bandwidth requirements for the Stadia were also released. A minimum of 10 megabits per second is required for 720p 60 FPS. You're going to need 20 for 1080p 60 FPS, and you're going to need a minimum of 35 to do 4K HDR at 60 FPS. So that's what you're going to need in terms of your internet speed to run Stadia. Another interesting thing that came out of the Stadia event was it gave us a surprise reveal. Larian Studios, who made Divinity Original Sin 2, are making Baldur's Gate 3. So that's fucking cool. And that's coming to Stadia, apparently. As well as all these other consoles. It's not going to be a Stadia exclusive by any means. Did you see anything about Baldur's Gate 3? Are you a Baldur's Gate fan at all?
Never played it.
Very, very good series of games that actually BioWare sort of cut their teeth on. And they're actually remastering, I think, the first 2 games for release later this year on like Switch and PS4 and stuff like that. Really, really good. So they're set in the D&D universe. They're like old school D&D games. Interestingly, like this little teaser trailer for Baldur's Gate 3 was interesting because it's actually like one of the most disturbing trailers I've ever seen. Like in terms of just like body horror type shit. Because you see this dude, this like knight, who I think is one of like the guard, and he just like grotesquely morphs into a mind flayer from D&D. So and you actually like there's like a lightning flash, and you can actually see like some more mind flayer shit in the background. Seems like mind flayers and a sort of Lovecraftian vibe is going to permeate Baldur's Gate 3, and I'm like super down for that. Because I heard that Divinity Original Sin 2 was actually like one of the best RPGs of this generation. So it's cool that they have actual pedigree behind Baldur's Gate 3. Anyway, Todd, with that being said, let's wrap up my news for this week with a Destiny update.
It's been a long time.
It has been a long time. So, the next expansion for Destiny 2, Todd, is called Shadowkeep. Have you looked at any of this information?
You couldn't live with your failure. So I saw a meme about that involving the moon.
So, next expansion for Destiny 2, Shadowkeep. Yeah, it involves the moon. Eris is back. Yeah, that's kind of all we know about the story. It's, it's checking the boxes of a typical Destiny expansion, new raid, new areas, and all that shit.
I ended up watching the vid doc on it.
Yeah, I did too.
You did too?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's coming September 17th, and it's bringing with it a lot of changes. So,
yeah, a lot of fucking changes, actually.
As you saw with the vid doc, they are officially calling Destiny an MMO, which is interesting. They're kind of using Destiny 2 as a platform for future expansion, so they've kind of made it clear that for the time being, Destiny 2 is the game, right? Mm-hmm. They have integrated cross-save, meaning that you can move between any system. They actually, from what Jason said, at the 0 hour, got Sony to agree to cross-save functionality for Destiny 2. Wow. Like, literally yesterday, they got that. They were able to lock that down. So, PS4, Stadia, PC, Xbox, anywhere that you can play Destiny 2, your save is going to be there, right?
That's awesome, actually.
Which is really cool. Really cool. Like, honestly, a lot of this stuff is really cool. I saw somebody made the accurate joke that that Destiny 2 has that "I'm single now" energy. Now that they broke up with Activision, they can sort of spread their wings and fly.
Yeah.
The base game is now going to be called Destiny 2 New Light, and it's going to be free to play. Mm-hmm. You will have the majority of the base content from the game. So basically everything from year one is going to be free. So Warmind, Curse of Osiris is going to be free, and then you'll have to purchase the other expansions sort of a la carte. They've also announced that there will never be platform-exclusive content again. So all that shit where people were like butthurt that PS4 had like exclusive stuff, that's not going to happen again. Destiny 2 is actually being removed from the Blizzard launcher and onto Steam now, which is going to make some people happy. There are services set up to help you transfer your saves and characters that way.
Awesome.
Which is cool. Bungie, again, they've reiterated really in this vidoc that like they have the control now. It's going to be more, they're going to have more of a like communicative relationship with their players.
Did you get those vibes from the vid doc about like them shitting on Activision?
Oh, there's totally a little bit of shade throwing, you know what I mean?
It was good. It was pretty solid, honestly.
Armor in Destiny will now allow for transmogrification, which is cool. Mm-hmm. That's something that we've long wanted in Destiny. Finishing moves are being added. Like, a lot of little stuff is being added. Shadowkeep does not require the base game. It's a standalone expansion. This is all good stuff. I like what I'm hearing. Is it enough to get me to come back to Destiny? I don't think so.
No, it's still more than what you want from that game now. Again,
the game just doesn't fit my lifestyle. I'm very, like, this is what I have to really say about it. I'm happy for Bungie. I'm happy for the game. I think this is smart decisions. I think it's too little too late, personally. Like, I was actually talking about this with Dan this morning when the news dropped. Like, it's telling to me that, like, why is it that every time a Destiny 2 expansion comes out, it's like this big, oh, we're fucking changing everything fundamentally about the game? Mm-hmm. Like, this game is so radically different with every expansion release than the game shipped with.
Yeah.
Like, if the game was so fucking flawed to begin with, it's like, fuck. I'm just... For me, like, if and when Destiny 3 does happen on the next generation, like, if they don't come out of the gate with a free-to-play model, they're kind of fucking themselves. Like, if there are going to be players who are playing this game at a free-to-play context, and then Destiny 3 one day comes out and it's not free to play from the jump? Can you really afford to make a game of a AAA size and quality like Destiny truly free to play?
No.
Can you release Destiny 3 with like next gen hardware, huge project? Can you do that and still make it free to play? I don't really think so. And it just seems to me like nobody really knows what to do with the game, and that kind of bums me out. I don't know.
I mean, at this point, the game's not for either of us. So
yeah, I think they're kind of doomed to the sort of WoW model of like they're gonna see a small boost for a few months. People are gonna pop back in, check out the expansion. They're just gonna drop back out.
It's like the hardcore motherfuckers that play that every day. They're gonna continue playing.
Yeah, the hardcore motherfuckers are gonna stay, and that's what you're gonna rest your laurels on. And at this point, it makes me wonder if Destiny 3 is even in the cards.
It might not be. They might just continuously pump out shit for Destiny. Destiny
Just
2.
keep that. And at this point, I already feel like Destiny 2 is a little long in the tooth. All these changes sound good to me, but like, has Destiny's time kind of come and gone? Or I wonder what the core fan base is probably really happy with some of this stuff, but I just wonder how long it's gonna last. I'm intrigued by it. I'll say that like Destiny's journey and Bungie's journey working with Activision and dropping from Activision and stuff, this has been really fascinating. I think it would have been smart for the game to go free to play before Forsaken came out, personally.
That's back when Activision had control.
Yeah, exactly. Activision probably pushed back on that. I've actually been saying that the game should be free to play for a while, and to that end, like right before Forsaken came out, they did kind of give the game away for free.
Yep.
So anyway, interesting things moving in the Destiny space. Not enough to get me to come back to it or you to come back to it. The game just isn't for me anymore. But at least they're acknowledging, at least they're actually calling it what it is, calling it an MMO. And they're saying like, hey, like this is the rock upon which we will build our church. Destiny 2 is an MMO, and we're going to treat it like an MMO. We're going to keep updating it. We're going to sell these expansions a la carte. And I like that. That's a good idea. If I played Destiny still, I'd be happy. But that does it for the news, Todd. I think unless you wanted to add any more tidbits, I think we should kick it off to our past selves.
Well, yeah.
All right, we will leave you guys in the hands of our past selves for some sweet E3 2019 predictions. We will see you guys next week on the other side. So take it away, past Seth and Todd. Todd. E3 time is here.
Is that the song you're going to go for? That rendition of it?
Yeah. Well, you got a problem? You got a problem with
bit.
Charlie Brown Christmas? It is like Christmas, Todd. It's video game Christmas. It's E3. Is there a better time of the year than E3, Todd?
I mean, yes and no, but
Tell me something that's better than E3.
not E3.
Every other week of the year? No, Todd, it's E3. It's E3 times. It's exciting times of the year for us. We have already... So we're doing this a little bit weird. This is the second half of the podcast, so I apologize if there's like a weird disparity between our voices and our candor, because we have recorded this sort of second half of the podcast ahead of time. And we're just going to kind of smash the two portions together and make a fucked up Frankenstein's monster for this episode. The reason I'm doing that is because there has been so much fucking like news. We're just in this like tumultuous like time of like pre-E3 leaks and news and all this crap. And I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and get the predictions out of the way and then wait until the very end of the week. Literally wait until Thursday. Wait for all the news, all the air to clear. Wait until the last possible second to record, the news portion of the podcast. So that's what we're doing. And so as a result, you're getting this weird amalgamation of whatever this podcast is. So
I mean, I respect that you actually, clarified. Because I even made a joke before we started to record this part.
yeah. Well, I just, I felt the need to, to clear the air on that, because it's like, I'm sure that this is going to sound weird, in comparison to, we've never really done it like this before. But In the ways of old.
We've accidentally done it.
Have we?
We've accidentally had to do 2 recording sessions before.
Oh, yes. Yes, but that was not quite the same situation.
Yeah.
But one thing we do always do, Todd, every year leading into E3, it is as tradition. We've done this since Nerd Bourbon started. Now that we are heading into Nerd Bourbon's 3rd year of operation, we will continue to do it. This is our 3rd time doing this. E3 predictions. This is something I like to do every year. I like to sort of, I am an analyst of the video game industry. I like to keep my ear to the ground, Todd. And I got some thoughts about where I think we're heading. I'm a fan of all of this stuff. Passionate video game fan. I like to make my predictions every year feel a little self-important, if you will, Todd. Feel a little bit preen my feathers a little bit, as it were. Put some of this video game knowledge to work, if you would. So what I'm gonna do, and I did this last year, I'm gonna follow a similar format. I'm going to go through each conference in order that they happen. And by the way, I'm very glad that you're actually going to be off work this year.
Oh, I made sure it happened.
We figured it out. You're going to get to... The tradition is going to continue of us watching these shows live together.
Those words actually came out of my mouth when I told them that I needed the days off.
Oh, like the tradition?
Yes. It's a tradition. They're like, what are you guys doing?
Tradition.
Doesn't matter. It's a tradition.
We've done it for probably 10 years now.
Yeah.
Unironically, we just always watch them live together. So that tradition will continue this year. There's fear that it might not, but that fear has been put to rest. So E3 starts, or the first conference really. Now, Todd, there's some weird shit going on where on Saturday we're gonna get a little like some stuff from like EA's streams where they're gonna show off some like Jedi Fallen Order gameplay and stuff like that. There's there's rumors that we're gonna get some like Sony related trailers and kind of like Sony related news around the same time, but we don't know. We're getting some weird things like, and we will probably have covered this in the first half of the recording. There's been a Pokemon Direct. There's like some Destiny news that's dropping. There's going to be some Google Stadia news. So all this stuff that's happening, there's been several pre-E3 leaks that have happened. So I've had to resend this list several times.
Fuck.
More so than any year previous. I've probably had to make like 4 or 5 adjustments to my list of predictions here, but E3 properly, the first conference is going to be Microsoft. The mighty Microsoft, Todd.
It's like 2 hours. It's going to be 2 hours long, right?
2 hours long,
Oof.
From what we understand. Which, granted, in previous years, they've kind of like flirted with that runtime before. They've done like an hour and a half. I think last year was like around an hour 40 something. But yeah, this year, from what we're hearing, it's going to be about 2 hours long. That's going to be starting Sunday, June 9th at 3 o'clock p.m. Central Time. I'm listing these in Central Time because Todd and I live in Central Time Zone. Fuck you.
Bitches.
So we've talked about this a lot on the show over the course of the past probably year and a half or so. I mean, E3 2019, this may be, in my mind, maybe the most important E3 in Microsoft's history.
Mm-hmm.
Because here we are, this is the E3 kind of like leading into 2020, leading into their next generation of consoles. We are, we're kind of like, this is probably the last real E3 of this generation. And for the first time ever, they don't have to share the spotlight with their biggest competitor, Sony. So, like, with Sony out of the picture for this kind of E3 time slot, Microsoft is just going to have like its pick of the litter with third-party games. So I think it's time for Microsoft to hit them where it hurts. I predicted to you, I think off mic, that they were going to have like an overly long E3 presence this year, and I think that's...
You actually did. Hashtag Seth was right.
Yeah, because, again, it's just... There's no way they're not going to take advantage of this. Like, Sony's not going to be there. It's time to fucking shiv them in the gut. So, here's my first prediction for Microsoft. I'm gonna start off a little bit crazy. Okay. I've got so if you guys weren't here last year, you might not know. I'm gonna do 5 predictions and then one sort of like crazy pie in the sky prediction for each conference. My first prediction for Microsoft is that Capcom, who loves to take Microsoft stage and reveal upcoming games, they're going to take the stage on Microsoft and announce that Dino Crisis is being rebooted using that Resident Evil 2 remake engine.
I forgot you've been having this idea for a while now.
Yes. I think there's going to be a teaser trailer with a 2020 release date. So here's something that I like to do with my predictions, and you know this. I like to back it up with my thought process behind them.
Yeah.
So my thought process, Shinji Mikami is confirmed. He actually tweeted that he was actually en route to E3. It's he might just be there for the inevitable Evil Within 3 announcement. We all pretty much assume that's going to happen at Bethesda. More on that later. But I think he's also going to be there for this. I don't think you fly Shinji Mikami out to Los Angeles just to talk about Evil Within 3. Shinji Mikami created Dino Crisis, for those that don't know. And the idea of a dinosaur third-person shooter in the Resident Evil 2 remake engine really fucking turns my crank.
See, I've never actually played those games, or that game in general, but I would be down for it, actually.
Well, I mean, here's the deal. It was pretty much a sort of primitive version of this idea, where it was a dinosaur shooter utilizing the Resident Evil engine.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what this would be. You either remake or reboot the Dino Crisis series using the Resident Evil 2 engine, put it out in early 2020, and man, I'm all over that. I would love to see what they would do with Dino Crisis. And I just think it'd be a good time. I think that game has got a lot of nostalgia. I think a lot of people look at that game with fondness, myself included. And I would just love to see just high fidelity dinosaurs in a third person shooter. That would really do it for me. Got a safe one for you here, Todd. This will almost certainly happen. A new gameplay demo happens for Gears of War 5, or Gears 5.
Yeah, that's definitely happening.
Which closes out with a September release date. I'm not going to give a specifics, I don't know. But I think September.
Okay.
And information regarding a multiplayer beta in July. So
yeah, that's pretty. I feel like that's going to be pretty on point.
Yeah, I think that's pretty. I think that's pretty safe. I mean, they pretty much always have some sort of Gears presence. We know that Gears 5 is going to be at the show. We're almost positive that the game is going to come out this fall. So I think a September release date, July beta. I think that's pretty safe. They're not going to do a beta in August if I think the game's coming out in September. And I think we'll get a good gameplay demo. We'll get a little bit more story tease because I'll say this, I'm probably not going to play that game for a little while, but I'm very interested in its story.
Yeah, I do want to play it at some point because I really enjoy what Gears 4 and Gears 5 do story-wise.
Gears 4 was good.
Yeah. I enjoy the shit out of Gears 4. I don't care.
That was a good campaign.
Yeah.
A legit good campaign.
I'm looking forward to seeing what they end up doing with Gears 5 as well.
I'll say this. I'm kind of hedging my bets on. I'm really wanting to see if they're going to have a real cheap deal on that Xbox One S all digital.
Mm-hmm.
If they have a deal with that where it's literally $150, I'll grab one. It's fuck it. Grab one and then use Game Pass and just play all those games. That's where it's so cheap I'd be stupid not to buy it.
Yeah,
and at that point I might play Gears. I got another sort of safe one, but this is something that I want to clarify. So Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be at E3 again this year, I think, with a big presence on the Microsoft stage. Incredible new gameplay trailer. And what I really want to clarify is that I think this game is not coming out this year. I think it's going to be early 2020. I don't think we're going to get a hard date. I think we're just going to get kind of a spring 2020, a vague date for it. a lot of people, a lot of idiots, frankly, are like convinced that Cyberpunk's coming out in 2019. I just don't see a reality where that's happening.
No. I've never actually thought it was going to come out this year.
I never thought it was coming any earlier than 2020. But, I mean, I've been proven wrong with Death Stranding. Maybe. There's a possibility. I really don't think so. I really think that they're going to take the stage, show the game off again, maybe really give the public their first look at gameplay, because we saw that like 40-minute gameplay come out, but it'd be nice to see them on the E3 stage actually with a controller in their hand playing the game and seeing some more polished, more final gameplay. Man, that game looks incredible, and I can't wait for it. So I think that's gonna have a major presence on the Microsoft stage. Early 2020 release date for Cyberpunk. It is not coming out in 2019. Next up, I've got, so Microsoft's acquisition of Obsidian means that I think it makes sense that they would showcase the Outer Worlds on their stage. You remember the Outer Worlds?
Of course I do.
Let's not forget about it.
I wasn't planning on forgetting about that game.
Let's not forget about it, Todd. I think that game is going to be good. I think we're going to get a pretty lengthy gameplay demo spot for it and a hard release date for this fall. As far as like the timing, I kind of like feel like they're either going to crank it out and get it out in like August to beat out Borderlands 3, or they're going to save it for like October or November so that there's at least some distance.
They don't want to put that against Borderlands 3.
They're not going to put it out in September. They would be stupid to put it out in September. So yeah, it's just, and I'm not saying that they're in like direct competition with each other, but the game clearly is like Borderlands influenced.
Yeah,
they're very different games, but
it would be an EA-ass move to throw that game out in September.
Yeah, I just don't think it's smart. I think October, November probably is the safe bet.
Yeah, give it a little distance from that game.
Just give it a little bit of time. Just give Borderlands some time to breathe, because you can't really put out another sort of like shooter RPG around Borderlands and expect it to survive. I mean, love it or hate it, like Borderlands is massive, you know, and no, there's not a single person who's going to pick the Outer Worlds over Borderlands 3. It's just not going to happen.
Shit, I already know I wouldn't.
So it's just, you know, give it a little bit of space, put it out in October, November, maybe even December would be a good place for it, where like it's kind of died down. But a lot of people like to get their games out, you know, before that Black Friday shopping season. So I don't know. The Outer Worlds is going to be a tricky one. With Borderlands 3 is sort of the black horse for that one. It's going to be kind of like, you know, where are you going to slot this game? But I think it's going to come out this fall. I think we're going to get a good gameplay demo, really put some light on this game. Even though Microsoft is not technically publishing it, they do still own Obsidian, and I think it is still in their best interest to see that their game does well. And I think The Outer Worlds is a good-looking third-party game that's gonna surprise people. I'm looking forward to that game. It was no secret last year that Microsoft announced that they acquired Ninja Theory, a studio that we love here at Nerd Bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
Ninja Theory, developers of Hellblade. I think that their next game is going to be revealed on the Microsoft stage. It will, of course, be exclusive to Xbox and PC, at least at first. It's kind of hard to say what kind of game it's going to be. My guess is that it's not going to be like 100% in line with something like Hellblade.
No.
I don't think they're going to do another game kind of like Hellblade. I think they're going to do something totally different. Ninja Theory is not really one to do like sequels or anything.
I would never want a sequel to Hellblade.
Yeah, just kind of let it be its own thing, and I think Ninja Theory understands that. I think they're going to kind of do their own thing. I think it's going to be a totally new IP from Ninja Theory, just a totally original game. I don't think they're going to give a release date for it, though, because I think it's going to be a next box game. It's not going to come out this generation. They're just going to announce it here. And that's going to be the exciting thing, I think, about the C3, is I think a lot of the new games being announced are going to be for next generation hardware. They just can't quite say it yet. So this will be one of them. So my crazy prediction, I'm just going to get this out of the way because you all know I'm going to say it. You all know I'm going to predict Banjo-Kazooie, right? I have to keep making this prediction.
You've dead ass been predicting this like ever from the beginning, haven't you?
I've been predicting this for years now. I have to will it into existence. However, So I have a real crazy prediction, but Todd, I just want to tell you that there is more evidence now than ever the Banjo-Kazooie is coming back this year. This E3 is going to be the E3 for Banjo.
Now, as much as I want like a new Banjo, a part of me wants your hopes and dreams to be crushed.
No, Banjo is happening this year, and I'll tell you why. I've got 2 pieces of substantial evidence to posit that Banjo-Kazooie is a thing. So, and these are kind of like deep cut pieces of evidence. There was a company that makes officially licensed merchandise, and they make like dumb shit like, oh, like little statuettes that hold like candy dishes and dumb shit. I don't remember what they're called, but they're working on a Banjo-Kazooie one. And it's like, okay, like they sort of teased it on Twitter, like we're making a Banjo-Kazooie piece of merchandise or whatever. No big deal, right? But worth noting, Banjo in this statue or whatever that they're making has got a different kind of backpack, like a redesign of Banjo's backpack. So people are like, is this based on a new Banjo design for a new Banjo game, right? That's one piece of evidence. Another piece of evidence is that there is a marketing firm that works with Microsoft that recently was at a conference, some sort of convention in Las Vegas. They're like a marketing firm that basically like handles like putting more eyes on your projects and stuff like that. They're the people who like, you know, that feed into the fucking Facebook algorithms and shit like that. So anyway, in their sort of like splash page, their portfolio of the games that they've represented, they've got like Sea of Thieves and like all these random like Microsoft games. Just last month, the Banjo-Kazooie logo was added to their splash page.
Oh, shit.
So, even more fuel to this fire. There was a leak on Reset Era or Resetera or whatever you call it that involves some of this Microsoft conference stuff where they said that Banjo-Kazooie is going to happen, and this guy, his name's Shinobi, he's actually kind of a famous leaker. He leaked that Ridley was coming to Smash. He leaked that Call of Duty World War II was a thing. He's leaked a lot of like accurate things, and he responds to this thread on Reset Era kind of cryptically, and he said something to the effect of like, "Oh, it'd be nice to see Banjo back. Haven't seen him in a while. I think it would be a smashing good time." It's been no secret. Look, Microsoft's not stupid. They know that people are hungry for Banjo-Kazooie. And they've been real friendly with Nintendo lately. I think that now is the time, this E3 is the time to announce that Banjo is coming back. And in collaboration with Nintendo, Banjo-Kazooie is going to be a Smash fighter.
But I'm going to be honest. If Banjo becomes a Smash fighter, I think you'd cry.
Instantly my main. I don't care.
You wouldn't even care if he was garbage.
I don't care if he is like the worst tiered character in the game. I don't care if he is like awful. I would learn him. So I think that I think that more than any year past, I think that we got a real chance of Banjo-Kazooie being announced on Microsoft stage this year. I really do. Even if that is just like, hey, we're remastering the first one. That's enough for me. That sells me an Xbox right then and there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'll be going down to the store to pick up one of those all digital ones, like for like dead ass, just for that. So I think this is the year for Banjo. But Todd, that's not my crazy prediction. I always make the Banjo prediction. The Banjo prediction may as well be its own category at this point, Todd.
Banjo in the sky.
Yeah, my real crazy prediction. I got 2 words for you, Todd. Fable 4.
Oh, shit.
And this, while it may be my crazy prediction, I've got reason to believe that this is a thing, too. I want to talk to you about a development studio called Playground Games. These are the people that, it's UK-based, they work on the Forza Horizon series, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've worked for Microsoft for a number of years making these Forza Horizon games, always been exclusive to Xbox. However, Microsoft has never actually owned them. They're technically an independent studio, kind of a second-party studio, where they're making exclusives for Xbox, but they are not owned by Xbox. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Last year, when Microsoft took the stage and they said, hey, we're buying a whole bunch of studios, that was one of the studios they bought. So Playground Studios is now owned by Microsoft. So already you've got that sort of cachet there. We heard rumors going back to like 2016 that Playground was kind of hiring for people who have knowledge of British culture. So that already seems a little bit weird.
You know, I forgot about that. Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah, so we heard rumors about that forever ago. And Playground has kind of been, they released a new Forza Horizon like a couple years ago, but they've been kind of working on another like secret project for a while. I think it's Fable. The leak that I mentioned earlier that involved Banjo-Kazooie gave significant details of Fable 4 and like what they're doing with Fable, kind of hinting that this is actually Microsoft is actually going to have a lot to say about Fable 4. Like they're actually going to like provide some story details.
If that ends up being real shit, I'm gonna lose my mind. I love Fable.
Yeah, so I can actually read you some of these details if you want. Apparently, this was based on some sort of like video, like a video presentation, kind of like slide thing. But anyway, this info, the game can be played in first or third person, which is weird.
That is very weird.
You can create your own character as a very in-depth character creation.
Okay.
Completely open. There are no guns in the game. I'll tell you why in a minute, because it kind of makes sense. You can completely ignore the main quest and never become a hero, a la Breath of the Wild. Players can build towns, which ties into the main quest heavily. There's going to be multiplayer, and it's going to be built in the Unreal Engine. Now, story details. This is interesting. Albion and Aurora are gone. The quote is, they are, quote, lands reduced to fables.
Oh, shit.
The Spire was rebuilt.
Oh, shit.
And used by a mad king to wish that an asteroid would strike the planet. And he also wished that it would happen again in the far future. So this new Fable game takes place eons later, and everything is new. Medieval theme, new continents, and you have to stop the destruction of the planet again as this asteroid is coming back around to sort of destroy the world again.
Okay. See, that's a good way to reboot the Fable series, though.
So this essentially makes it a hard reboot of Fable that I think makes some sense, and it's almost like post-apocalyptic in a weird way.
Yeah, that's...
like almost like a Wind Waker post-apocalypse.
Dude, if that ends up being like real shit, dude, I'll be there. Like, come on.
Teresa and the Heroes Guild are preserved on another planet via a demon door.
Oh, God bless.
Time travel is heavily involved in the story, and Jack of Blades returns.
What the fuck?
So, yeah.
Dude, it's like...
very interesting.
Yeah.
So, this may be my crazy prediction, but there is precedent. I mean, look, this could be completely false. But,
yeah, but if it's true, shit.
Either way, Playground Studios is working on something, and we have reason to believe that it's Fable. And I think we may hear about it this E3. Now, probably going to be a next Xbox game, but still, Fable coming back is very exciting. I really miss Fable. Like I love that series. We were talking about it recently, I think. Too.
Yeah, we were talking about Fable recently.
Moving on to Bethesda. Bethesda, same day, Sunday, June 9th.
Now, before you jump into this, I just want to say one thing. I'm really curious to hear about your predictions for this shit.
This was so hard.
Oh, I believe it. Because I don't even know why they're having a conference, but we'll find out, I guess.
We talked about this on the show. Like this is by far the hardest one for me to have predictions for, and a lot of them are safe because what could they possibly have? I only really have a couple of like crazy ones for Bethesda. The rest of them are pretty safe. But anyway, Bethesda, Sunday, June 9th, 7:30 p.m. Central is when this is happening. Just a couple of hours after Microsoft. Like I said, we've said before, we have literally no idea what Bethesda has in store for us this year, especially since they've already said that there is not going to be any presence of Starfield or The Elder Scrolls 6. So it's like, what the fuck do you have? My first prediction is that a lengthy gameplay demo of Doom Eternal is shown, showcasing even more new mechanics and abilities with a February 2020 release date given. I don't think the game's coming out this year. Some people do. I don't. I think it would be a mistake to release the game this year. If they release the game this year, it's just going to get lost.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Bethesda doesn't really have a whole hell of a lot else coming out this year, but I think it would pay dividends for them to just hold on to it and just wait until early next year. I think February is a great time to release Doom. Get that Valentine's Day demon slaying.
the only type of demon slaying that I like to do. Oh, Lord.
I talked about this earlier. The Evil Within 3 is revealed and given an October 2019 release date.
Okay.
That's obvious. I would be very, very surprised if The Evil Within 3 was not revealed here. October just makes sense. The Evil Within 1 and 2 came out in October. It's a Halloween game. Just the Evil Within series has been a solid horror series. Not really my cup of tea, but it's been a really solid horror series for Bethesda. And, just makes sense for this game to come out. Next thing I've got for them, they aren't ready to give up the ghost on Fallout 76 just yet. A big new expansion for the game is coming this fall that will add new locations, gear, enemies, all the standard things an expansion should include. But with it will also come a significant update to the core game that will be available for everybody, that will include major quality of life changes that will make a lot of people that will ostensibly fix the game, right? Not going to be enough to get me to come back.
Yeah, but I say it's too late.
Too little, too late, Bethesda, but I do think that I think that they're going to give Fallout 76 a sort of shot in the arm. Just give it a real college try and try to redeem that game a little bit. It still has its fans. I sort of wonder what Bethesda's stance on this game is going to be. Like, are they just kind of like saying fuck it? Or are they going to actually give it a real shot? I think they're going to give it a real shot. Fallout 76, here's the deal. It's a solid idea. Real solid idea. Just needed some more time.
Yep.
So I think they're going to give an expansion and a huge update this fall that is going to really sort of turn the game around for a lot of people. Give it a little bit of a second lease on life. Again, not going to be enough for me to jump back in, but I would be happy to see them doing it at least. Next, Rage 2 is highlighted, namely with a reveal trailer of its Rise of the Ghosts expansion, which is coming this August. We already know about that.
Mm-hmm.
We already kind of know the game's content roadmap for 2019. They've kind of already talked about that. We even talked about that on the show when you kind of talked about Rage 2.
Yeah.
But I think they're still going to feel the need to give it a presence at the show because, you don't want people to forget about your game that just came out.
That's some real shit. I mean, I still haven't deleted it because I do plan on playing the DLCs when they come out.
Yeah, and I mean at the time of the conference, I mean it's going to be June. You're going to just be a couple of months away. Rise of the Ghosts is hopefully going to be a big expansion. I hope they give it a little bit of time and be like, hey, this is going to be an expansion worth jumping back into Rage 2 for. So I think we're going to get a little bit of that. This is a little bit of a crazy prediction. It is not my crazy prediction, but this is a little risky. A new IP is revealed from Arcane Studios. It will be an immersive sim similar to Dishonored and Prey, but it will not be Dishonored or Prey. It'll be a totally new thing. No release date or anything like that, just a teaser trailer just announcing it, but yeah, a totally new IP from Arcane Studios.
Part of me doesn't even think that's that crazy.
I just don't think, we've talked about this on the show. I don't think Dishonored is coming back.
No, Dishonored's dead. It died with The Outsider, all right?
I really think Dishonored is pretty much done. I'm sure they could have a way to spin it and make a Dishonored 3, but Dishonored 2 really didn't sell all that well either, so I just don't think they're going to bother.
Even beat it.
Yeah, maybe one day, but it slipped through the cracks for me. And I really, really love that game, though. But I just don't think Dishonored 3 is in the cards. I think that they are more likely to be working on a completely new IP, and I think it's time for Arcane to make a new IP. And Prey came out. I didn't play it. I heard good things, but it didn't necessarily set the world on fire. People liked it. I don't think anybody loved Prey. I didn't really see too many people talking about it. And I just think it's time for Arcane to put out a new IP. So I think it's still going to be in that same wheelhouse, though. My crazy prediction, it's an obvious one. And look, I hope it doesn't happen. Even though they said otherwise, I feel like they're still going to come out and talk about Starfield or something, you know? Bethesda's real good at, like, biting off more than they can chew.
Lord knows they are.
So even though they've said that they're not going to show it, I feel like they're still going to wheel Todd Howard out on stage, and they're going to be like, my crazy prediction is they're going to be like, oh, hey, here's like some like renders and some concept art for like Elder Scrolls 6.
I'm gonna say like, what else can they really do other than some like fucking renders and some concept art?
Just some bullshit, you know? Just something.
It's bullshit that they don't need to show though, and that's what annoys me, man. It's like, again, like the last E3 when they fucking do the Elder Scrolls 6 little teaser trailer, and everybody's like losing their fucking minds, and I'm like, you guys didn't even see shit.
Right. So yeah, I don't know. I just feel like they're gonna double back on that a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. I hope they don't. I hope they just shut up about it. I hope they don't either.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid.
Just shut up about it. Just leave it alone.
Until there's like legitimate gameplay, I don't want to see shit.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I don't think we should see anything about... I mean, look, E3 2020, hit me up, because I think that's when we need to see a big, lengthy, really sell me on Starfield E3 2020.
Yeah, real shit.
So
the idea, I like the idea of Starfield.
Yeah. I do too. I just want to know more about it, or really anything about it. Why did you even? Yeah. Why'd you bother even telling me about it? Like, it just makes no sense. So anyway, Bethesda being who they are, it would not shock me to see them double back on what they've said. We'll see. We'll see. I would love to be proven wrong. I want to be surprised. In a weird way, like, I'm both not looking forward to Bethesda, and I'm also really looking forward to Bethesda.
That's a good way of... That's a good mindset, because that's my mindset. Because I'm just like, I just want to see what the fuck's going to actually happen.
Yeah. So
like, I'm just
it's like why... I mean, I know they've done the past like several E3s in a row with their own press conference, but they don't need one. They absolutely don't need one, and it's like, all right. Anyway, moving on to Ubisoft, Todd. Ubisoft, Monday, June 10th at 3 o'clock p.m. is when their press conference takes place. I think Ubisoft is in an exciting place as we head into E3 this year. I mean, look, they're on top of the world. They've got major franchises that are holding strong. They're supporting a lot of their major franchises. You talk about For Honor, Rainbow Six Siege, got a new Ghost Recon coming out. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is getting all this amazing post-launch support. I mean, I think Ubisoft's in a real strong place.
Ubisoft's killing the game with, like, keeping the games alive.
Exactly. So this was one that I had to actually double back on one of my predictions, because Watch Dogs 3, Watch Dogs Legion, being leaked ahead of E3 really fucked me over. That was going to be one of my major predictions, so I had to replace it.
No, it's fine.
Bitch. I predict that Ubisoft, so we covered this on the show maybe a few weeks ago, a month ago, Skull and Bones being kind of indefinitely delayed. That was going to be kind of a big new multiplayer linchpin for Ubisoft. I think that they're going to announce a new multiplayer-focused IP to slot in with their other kind of big multiplayer franchises like Siege and For Honor. I think they're going to want something to fill that multiplayer gap that Skull and Bones would have filled.
Okay.
Some new multiplayer-centric IP that is going to be... like they want the... I think that Ubisoft really wants to get they want to have a good stable of multiplayer-focused IP. Siege and For Honor have both been huge for them. I think they want to continue that trend. I think they want to have a good third linchpin, and I think we're going to see something in that field. Next up, I'm going to say it, Todd, Splinter Cell.
And here's the thing, I want you to be right.
Splinter Cell is revealed. Despite the younger appearance and younger actor that Sam Fisher had in Blacklist, that's all bullshit. That's all gone now, Todd. Michael Ironside is back, and Sam Fisher is old. He's old again, damn it. I think his character model is going to essentially... I don't know if you saw his appearance in Ghost Recon Wildlands, where they just gave him a straight-up gray beard and shit.
Yeah.
I think that's essentially going to be what we're dealing with in this new Splinter Cell game. Old, Michael Ironside's back. It's really the Splinter Cell you want. I don't know if we're going to really see anything from it, but I think they'll talk about classic Splinter Cell gameplay, but with a larger scale. So the game's levels will still be kind of like linear and designed at heart, but I think that the levels are going to be a lot bigger than in previous games, and Sam is going to have many more gameplay options that he had in the past.
See, that'd be awesome.
Because a lot of people are like, oh, what's the evolution of Splinter Cell? Is it going to just be like Metal Gear Solid 5 where it's like open world? And I'm like, I hope not.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't want an open world Splinter Cell.
I want it to still be designed, but I think you can have a good balance of like have an intricate amount of design, but still very open. I mean, look at the Hitman games, right? The new Hitman games where the levels are huge and sprawling, but they are still level ass levels. You know what I mean? So I think the new Splinter Cell is going to take some cues from what Hitman's been doing, and kind of take that tact to it. I think it's coming in early 2020, like spring 2020. I think we're going to get a little teaser. We're going to get some talking. I don't think we're going to see gameplay necessarily. We're just going to get a trailer and like a 2020 release date.
As long as I hear Ironside's voice, I'll be happy.
Yes, and I'm sticking by what I said. I'm sticking by what I said on the podcast a few weeks ago. No dialogue from Sam Fisher until the very end of the teaser trailer, where you hear that, yes, it's Ironside. He's back, bitch. So... anyway,
my dick would get so hard.
Next up, Ubisoft is not done collaborating with Nintendo just yet. There will be a significant Nintendo presence in one of their announcements, either as something that is worked into a new IP, like how Starlink was. Maybe there's an entirely new title in collaboration with Nintendo, or Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle 2, which was a surprise hit for the Switch, and I actively think that is going to be an announcement we get at E3 this year.
Okay.
Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle 2. I want to point something out. So they made a fake like Instagram account for Rabid Peach that randomly has been like updating the Instagram account still. Keep in mind, this game came out like 2 years ago. Why would you still be updating this stupid marketing Instagram account if you did not have a new game coming? So, that's my thought process. That game was a surprise hit for the Switch. People love that game. And I played it for like 10 hours. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, did you? I did not know that.
Yeah, so I own that game. I bought the game, like the gold edition of the game that came with like the DLC and everything, because I really wanted to play the Donkey Kong DLC. And yeah, I mean, I played it for a solid 8 to 10 hours and had a good time with it. I haven't gone back to it, but I really like it. It's like a really good strategy RPG. Fucking hard. Like, actually really difficult. But a good game. So I would love to see them expand on Mario plus Rabbids. Turned out to be a like shockingly good get for Nintendo's third party. So anyway, I think that's going to be there. If that's not there, it's going to be some sort of Nintendo collaboration. I think Ubisoft collaborating with Nintendo is going to be like a mainstay that we're going to see at E3 basically forward. Because it's just worked out. It's just worked out well for them in every instance. As for things that are not going to be there, we're not going to get any mention of the next Assassin's Creed.
You don't think?
No mention of Assassin's Creed at all. Nothing. There's no point. Because the game's not coming out until next fall. Odyssey is still going very strong. They literally just like yesterday released a piece of DLC for it. Like a huge, by the way, piece of DLC with like new locations and new like cult members and shit like that. Like huge expansion level DLC for Odyssey is still coming out. And they're going to be supporting Odyssey coming into the fall still with even more DLC. So it's like there's no point. Assassin's Creed is going to come back, next fall. I think they're going to kind of reveal they'll probably do the typical thing like Assassin's Creed is normally revealed on like a Game Informer cover in like April. And then you turn around and like you get the blowout at E3 and the release in fall. I think that's how it's going to be for the next Assassin's Creed. But at this E3, no, we don't hear anything about it. And then sadly, I also don't think we're going to hear anything about Beyond Good and Evil 2. There's nothing that makes me think that they made it so clear to me last year that game is not coming out anytime soon. Like, do you remember that shit? Last year where they're like, hey, we want to have, like, you guys make art for the game. I'm like, oh, fuck, this game is far away.
Yeah.
There's no need for them to wheel out the bedraggled corpse of Beyond Good and Evil 2. There's just no point. I don't want them to do that. Just keep quiet with that game. When you've got more to show me, when you've got concrete shit to show me, bring it back, okay? Leave it alone this E3, because I know that you're not any closer to having that game done. No matter how you slice it, Todd, despite all of the ports and the re-releases, it has been several years since the release of Rayman Legends. It is time for Rayman to come back. A new game will be revealed very much in the style of Origins and Legends, using that UbiArt framework. But yes, I think it's time. The world needs a new Rayman game. Rayman Legends, by the way, one of the top 5 2D platformers of all time. Straight up. Like, that game is fucking immaculate. That game is basically perfect. If you have not played Rayman Legends, go pick it up on your Switch. It is phenomenal. That game is so good. Anyway, it's time for a sequel. It's been years. Rayman Legends came out in, I think, 2015 or 16 or something like that. And they have done re-releases and ports, but even still, the Switch port of that game came out in 2017. So even when you think about the latest release of Rayman Legends, that was still over 2 years ago. So it's time. And that game sold well. It's time for Rayman to come back. We need another Rayman game. It's time. My crazy prediction for Ubisoft, and I talked about this recently with you, the Prince of Persia franchise has not seen a proper release since the Forgotten Sands Jake Gyllenhaal movie tie-in bullshit in 2010. I think it is time for Prince of Persia to reemerge.
Does it need to, though?
I think so, because there is something unique about Prince of Persia. Prince of Persia is not simply like an action adventure game. It is not simply like a puzzle game. It is not simply like an Assassin's Creed open world game. That is a series where, like, it really is, like, the gameplay is all about really the platforming.
Yeah.
You enter a room in Prince of Persia, and just getting where you need to go is the puzzle.
Yeah.
Figuring out what you need to do to exit the room that you enter. It could take 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, Prince of Persia has always had really interesting mechanics, a really interesting world. I loved the 2008, the cel-shaded one with Nolan North. I love that game.
Yeah.
Love that game. I would kill for them to just revisit that. Give me a sequel to that game, and I'd be so happy. Prince of Persia is a really good franchise that I think needs to come back. It's kind of had its ebbs and flows. Sands of Time is like an excellent fucking game. Where, like, yeah, it has combat, but it's more so about the actual traversal and the platforming. Mm-hmm. And then it sort of became like a God of War clone as we progressed, and then again, they made that shitty movie, and they had a shitty movie tie-in, and it's like, alright, whatever. But I really would love Prince of Persia to come back in the classic sense. Like, I really want Prince of Persia to return to its roots with a new game.
Forget, didn't they do some, like, weird shit with Prince of Persia where, like, the motherfucker had, like, a fucking, like, demon form?
Yeah, that was, the Warrior Within. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. That was pretty bad. Anyway.
Was it the Warrior Within, or was it the second? No, I think it was the Two Thrones I'm looking at.
Oh, because isn't the box art, like, literally, like, it's like half and half him with...
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
I remember that. I remember that box art. Yeah. Prince of Persia really went downhill, but you know... Again, there are two, Sands of Time and Prince of Persia 2008. Those are special games. Like, I really want to see Prince of Persia return to that classic style. Because those games that you're talking about, those are much more combat focused because of the popularity of, like, those games came out, like, and they were kind of like, hey, I can do that too. Around the same time as, like, Devil May Cry and, like, God of War and shit like that, When they should have just stuck to doing its own fucking thing. Yeah, I don't need Prince of Persia to be like edgelord. I like Prince of Persia because here's the thing: Prince of Persia, especially like Sands of Time and to some extent the 2008 version, like it really had this sort of mystical Arabian Nights sort of feel to it. You know what I mean? And like fucking, then like they just said, fuck it, let's just make it some dude bro, Monster Energy drink, Godsmack listening edgelord game. So I just want Prince of Persia to come back and return to its roots. That's my crazy prediction for Ubisoft. Now, as we're moving on, Square Enix, okay? They're hyping up their press conference so much Their press conference is Monday, June 10th, 8 o'clock p.m. Square's E3 presence has always been kind of a strange one to me. They typically do a short 30-minute or so presentation. This year, they're actually taking up Sony's usual time slot, so it's kind of up to them to bring the goods this year, Todd. We'll see. I'm going to start it off. They teased it during the last Sony State of Play, so it's time to make good on it. We're going to get a new look at Final Fantasy VII Remake with a new trailer. The game is still episodic, and I think the details of that are going to be given some light. I think we're finally going to get some concrete details on the game. First episode releases in December. I think that would be huge. I think I'm predicting this. I think I'm personally going to be wrong about that. I'm just going to go ahead and say I think I'm probably going to be wrong about this, but I really want them to make 2019 for the first episode. Release it in December. Quiet time. It'll set the world on fire. And it's just episode 1 we're talking about. And give us a roadmap. Say like, hey, like episode 2 is coming out in May or whatever, you know? Give us some sort of idea of how big these episodes will be, how many episodes we're going to get, blah, blah, blah. So this is something that almost fucked me because ahead of E3, Crystal Dynamics came out and said that, hey, we're going to be at Square's conference. We're going to be talking about our Avengers project. So, you know, kind of pisses me off because I really, that was going to be kind of my dark horse prediction for Square. I was like, oh, hell yeah. I'm gonna do the 1-2 punch of this one. Crystal Dynamics is coming back. Avengers is coming back. Y'all forgot about it, but here's Avengers, right? But they've already said ahead of the show that they're gonna be talking about Avengers. Now, I want to go a little bit further with this. I don't think they're gonna give a release date because I think this is going to be another next-gen game. However, I'm gonna predict that this is gonna be a third-person action game, and as they have hinted in the past, this is going to be somewhat of a connected world game. Not an MMO, but it's going to have some online elements, which is something that they've hinted at in the past. And I think some people have forgotten about that. I also want to predict that you are not going to be playing as the core Avengers. You're not going to be playing as any of the Marvel characters. You're going to make your own character. As far as that goes, I mean, we really don't know anything about this game. I'm looking forward to seeing more about it. It's an interesting project. Moving on, we're going to get, I think, our look at the Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind DLC, which Nomura has talked about. We don't really know anything about it. It's going to be revealed and dated for release this holiday. And as much as I and everybody else would love for it to, I don't think it's going to include any new worlds. I would love it if this DLC had, like, a Zootopia world, for example, but I don't think it's going to. I think it's just going to be like a set of like scenarios. I don't think it's going to be a whole new world or anything like that. A whole new world. A new version of Dragon Quest XI is coming to the Switch. I imagine that it's going to... We already know that it's coming to the Switch, but I imagine it's going to be dated for the system during this presentation. This is kind of a safe prediction, but I think they're going to highlight this game not only because it's coming out to the Switch, probably in like September, but I think it's going to plant the seed for an announcement that's going to happen during Nintendo's Direct. And there's going to be more on that later. Here's one for you, Todd. I threw this in here for you. Yoko Taro takes the stage. Nier Automata was a massive success. And we are getting the third game in the series. Also developed in collaboration with Platinum Games. Nier 3. Revealed on Square Stage this year.
I mean, I'll be there. I mean,
that's a prediction for you, Todd. That game came out a while ago and did very well.
Game's fucking good.
Did very well. I think surprised a lot of people. Not my cup of tea, but you loved it. A lot of people loved it. The game sold extraordinarily well.
Let me tell you something. Android ass sells that game. I'm just playing.
I think it's time for him to announce the next game in the Nier series. I don't think we're going to get any sort of release date, but a trailer.
Did it come out that long ago?
2017, I think. Let me make sure. Let me fact check myself on this. Yes, February 23rd, 2017.
Yep.
Over 2 years ago. So it's time, and I'm seeing here just a recent report. It actually went on to sell more than 4 million copies. I mean, a huge success.
Like, it's come out on like multiple systems and shit now.
Yeah,
like,
but I mean, but you gotta hand it out to Platinum and Yoko Taro.
Yeah.
I mean, these are hugely successful games, and I think the third game is really in the cards, and I think we're gonna hear about it at this E3. At least announce it. My crazy prediction, Todd. I've got two here. It's a little bit of a cop out, but two things. One is, I'll say this. One is crazy. The other is like really fucking crazy. My crazy one is that ports of Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross are coming this fall. Similar to the ports of the PS1 Final Fantasy games. They're not going to like do anything crazy to them. They're just going to straight port them for like PS4, Xbox, and Switch. I want Chrono Trigger back. That's all I care about. I want the Chrono games. I want to have the Chrono games on my Switch. But my crazy prediction is that they end their show announcing Final Fantasy 16.
Fuck.
Way too early, but they're going to do
like
it.
always.
But again, like always, Square does not know how to hold their games for later. They're going to announce Final Fantasy 16 this year with the trailer, and we're probably not going to play it for another 10 fucking years. But but Final Fantasy 16. That's my crazy prediction.
I personally don't even think it's that crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. Moving on to the most exciting press conference of the year.
Oh Lord.
The final one. Nintendo. Tuesday, June 11th, 11 o'clock in the morning. Fuck you. Is there any conference more exciting than Nintendo? I mean, maybe Microsoft.
I mean, personally, I'm more excited for Microsoft.
I'm more excited for Nintendo. Man, this is going to be such a fucking good year for Switch. I get like goosebumps thinking about all the Switch games I'm going to be playing this fall. I can't wait. When it comes to Smash, and this is where I said we were going to get back to this. There are going to be two character reveals. The next two fighters revealed for Smash. The first is Erdrick, which was leaked a while ago. We don't know if it's real or not, but the main character from Dragon Quest 11, which I think is going to be revealed here coming sometime in July, and it's going to be the kind of thing where they kind of like do a bait and switch where it's one big trailer and they reveal Erdrick or whatever, and then at the very end of it, you guessed it, Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo motherfucking Kazooie coming to Smash. No hard date is given for him. No gameplay is shown. But Banjo's confirmed. He's going to be getting jiggy with it. I think it's happening. I think it's real. Had to open strong with Nintendo there. My Nintendo predictions. Luigi's Mansion 3 is not delayed at all. A lot of people have been speculating that maybe it's delayed because we haven't heard any information about it. No, not delayed at all. In fact, it's going to be given a hard October release date with our first look at gameplay. In fact, they're going to do a whole gameplay segment showing like hours of gameplay during the Treehouse live streams that they always do. And during these live streams, they're going to surprise announce a Luigi's Mansion amiibo. Now, my big thing for Luigi's Mansion 3 is I think we're going to have a online multiplayer element to it. A strong online multiplayer element. Not just PvP, but some sort of cooperative mode as well, I think is going to come to Luigi's Mansion 3. Because Luigi's Mansion 2 Dark Moon on 3DS had a really popular, really cool multiplayer component, but there wasn't any like online element. I really think that you could double down on Luigi's Mansion multiplayer and do something really special with it with Switch. So I think that's going to be a big element of Luigi's Mansion 3. Very excited for that game. This is a little bit boring. The remake of Link's Awakening is dated for November. A new Link amiibo will be released with the game. Don't really have much more to say about that other than I can't fucking wait. I am so ready for that game.
I remember you lost your fucking mind when that shit got announced.
Link's Awakening is like one of the best Zelda games. It's one of the best 2D Zelda games for sure. And I really can't wait to replay it. I can't wait for people to play it because that game is so weird. Like that is like maybe the weirdest Zelda game, and I can't wait for people to experience it for the first time. I think a lot of new eyes are going to be on Link's Awakening for the first time. That game is great, and I love the new art style. I can't wait. The major focus, Todd, of this Direct, of course, I think is going to be Animal Crossing. We are going to get a full reveal of Animal Crossing, although I think they're going to hold their punches a little bit. I think we're going to get a title reveal. We're going to see plenty of gameplay. We're going to hear about new features. But I think we're going to get a soft release date of like holiday 2019, but I don't think we're going to get a hard release date until later on this year when we get a dedicated Direct. Animal Crossing is going to sort of like reiterate like, yes, don't worry, we're coming out this holiday, blah, blah, blah. But then like in August or September or something like that, we'll get a Animal Crossing focused Direct where they really go ham and they talk about Animal Crossing for like 30, 45 minutes, and then they give you the hard like November release date, I think Animal Crossing is going to be a major, major focus of this Direct. And I cannot fucking wait, man.
Oh, again, I'm planning on this being like the Animal Crossing I finally jumped back into.
Cannot wait. So hyped for Animal Crossing to come back.
I'm trying to think of the last Animal Crossing I played.
The first one?
No, it wasn't the first one.
There was the first one. There was one on DS, one on Wii, and then New Leaf. I think that's it.
There was the one on DS that I played.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. The new game from Retro Studios is finally revealed. Now, there were rumors like forever ago that they were going to have a game ready for the launch of the Switch, like a racing game that kind of had like a fully featured like single player element, like a fully featured like adventure mode to it called like Star Fox Grand Prix. This was talked about forever ago. And I'm like, is the project dead? Did it get worked into something else? Whatever they're working on and whatever they've been working on for years now has got to be ready for prime time. It's got to be. At least it has to at least be ready to get revealed because now Retro is working on Metroid Prime. So if you're ready to move on to another project, your old project's got to be basically done. I think Retro's new project is finally going to be revealed at the C3. My crazy prediction, not really that crazy, but I just want to throw it out there because I want to kind of will it into existence, Todd. All of the remaining Wii U ports that have yet to come to the Switch. So we're talking about the Metroid Prime trilogy. We're talking about both of the Zelda HDs. We're talking about Mario 3D World. We're talking about Pikmin 3. All of those major games that were on Wii U that have not come to the Switch yet, they're coming, baby. They're coming. Zelda is coming. Zelda, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker HD, they're coming to the Switch. Metroid Prime Trilogy, coming to the Switch. Complete with motion controls. Mario 3D World, coming to the Switch. Fuck it.
I really do hope that the Zelda games do come to the Switch.
God. I want that so bad.
Dude, I want to play Wind Waker.
I want to play Wind Waker and Twilight Princess on my Switch so fucking bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have a hankering for those games. A fierce hankering, Todd. But that's what I got. That's what I got for E3 this year in terms of my predictions. I would like to say, I think that I've got an even mix. I think I've got some crazy shit in there, some safe shit. We're going to see how I do.
I will say this. The crazy ones this year aren't all that crazy in my mind.
I think the reason for that is because I actually gave my reasoning behind thinking it.
Yeah.
So even the ones where I'm like crazy about it, I'm not fucking just like swinging wild. Even when I make a crazy prediction, I want it to have some sort of basis in fact. So that's what I got. That's what I got for E3 this year. Tune in next week. E3 is an exciting time. I can't wait to sit there with my coffee, furiously taking notes, hanging out with you. It's gonna be a great time.
Bro, I'm gonna order like probably order some Domino's or something.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have my Domino's pizza. I already told my wife, I'm like, look, I'm not cooking Sunday and Monday night. It's not happening. I'm going to have my pizza next to me. I'm going to be drinking my coffee. I'm going to be taking my notes. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
I'm excited.
E3 is such an exciting time. And yes, it's scaled down. And yes, Sony's not going to be there and blah, 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 blah. I'm still excited. I don't care. I don't care if it's scaled down. It's E3 excitement is so infectious. It's hard not to be excited for E3. And I love making these predictions, crazy or no. And I love speculating about future games and stuff like that. I can't wait. I can't wait. Anyway, that's what I've got, Todd. You got anything else you want to add before we wrap it up this week?
Yeah, I think that's about it, man.
Thanks for listening, folks. We'll see you next week once all this E3 dust is settled. We'll react to my predictions. Welcome to year 3 of Nerd Bourbon, officially. Get fucking dunked on. Bye.
See ya.
Hey there, thanks for checking out another fantastic Nerd Bourbon video. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, be sure to go ahead and subscribe, leave us a like, drop us a nice comment, or I guess a mean one if that's your prerogative. But until next time, get dunked on.